Hi, everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie, The 4:30 Movie. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So The 4:30 Movie is Kevin Smith's latest movie. It's a semi-autobiographical coming-of-age comedy film written and directed by Kevin Smith. It's loosely based on his experiences sneaking into movie theaters as a teenager and his earliest romantic adventures. As far as what I liked about the movie, overall, I thought the cast was pretty good. I liked Austin Zajur as Brian David, Nicholas Cirillo as Bernie, and Reed Northrup as Belly, especially Belly. I think he was very funny, but they all worked, and they're all very much the type of archetypes that I went to school with, I think. I like Siena Agudong as Melody. I like Genesis Rodriguez as the usher, although I didn't recognize her at all. But she has a nice little scene there with Brian David toward the end. And a standout for me definitely is Ken Jeong, his manager Mike. I think Ken Jeong can sometimes be misused, but in this case, I think that they used him perfectly, very much like his Chang character on Community. And almost every scene he's in was pretty funny. I really liked Ken Jeong as manager Mike. And Sam Richardson. I'm a huge Sam Richardson fan. So anytime he shows up in anything, I'm like, yes, absolutely. Sam Richardson's great. We also had some other stuff. Evelyn Giovine as Jessica Court. Some cameos from Justin Long, Jason Lee, Dietrich Bader, Kate Micucci, Rachel Dratch, Adam Pally, Harley Quinn Smith, Method Man, Logic, who I didn't even know that was Logic. I didn't know that's what Logic looked like. The entire movie, I'm going, who is this nerdy looking dude? Oh, well, who is he? I don't understand. That's Logic. I've heard of him. Okay, I didn't know that's what he looked like. Brian O'Halloran has a quick cameo, although I think it might have gotten cut, but he's in the sort of end there of the movie. Jeff Anderson, again, quick cameo. Rosario Dawson, Jason Mewes, Jason Biggs. Yeah, all the traditional sort of Kevin Smith players and normal kind of actors that he uses a lot, but most of them are used pretty sparingly. There's not a ton of them. I think I don't even think what's his name, Jeff Anderson, even has a line at all. So yeah, it's kind of nice. Again, I expect to see these people in his movies, but I'm glad he didn't overdo some of their cameos or some of their characters. Cinematography was by Yaron Levy. He did Blood Drive and Scream, the TV series. I think it looks pretty good. And the music was by Bear McCreary. I really like the music. I'm a big fan of Bear McCreary. He did the Masters of the Universe Revelation, I think it was called, the Kevin Smith cartoon. He also does Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and Godzilla, King of the Monsters. He does a ton of stuff, a ton of TV stuff. It's really cool. It's a very 80s kind of synthesized kind of sound to it. Most of it's just score, but there's a couple songs with actual like lyrics and singing and stuff. I don't think there's any actual songs in this other than the two that Bear McCreary did. I think most of it's just score, and there's no like pop, culture kind of songs or anything like that. I think the humor in this is pretty good. I really liked, especially the belly character. Whenever he wanted to wrestle, he's like, "Oh, we wrestling?" He like goes and like drop kicks the guy and stuff like that. Was really fun. There's a lot of that very funny kind of weird stuff like that in there. And I like sort of the weirdness too, the sort of kind of weird humor, like the pocket bacon and all that kind of stuff was pretty funny. And everyone like kind of downs him for it, but then like ends up eating it and really liking it and stuff and really enjoying it. So yeah, it was a funny, weird little kind of thing. I enjoyed that. I did like also that it just reminded me of my own adolescence. I was definitely a kid who went out to the movies a lot and would try to sneak into R-rated movies sometimes. And so, yeah, and even like the characters here reminded me of my friends. I had similar things. I had a friend who was into cars and, like thought he knew about girls and all this kind of stuff. So very, very similar. And even the whole idea of like saying, oh, oh, she's not that hot, or she's not. I definitely had that kind of stuff happen to me when I was younger as well. I did like the movie as sort of a cinema verite, like just a slice of life kind of movie. It reminded me a lot of like Dazed and Confused, or like some of those kind of Richard Linklater movies, stuff like that. I like that, and I like all the weird little movie trailers they had in there. They had the one with Harley Quinn Smith, where she was like a sex worker and a nun. That was pretty funny. There was the one with Jason Biggs that was kind of like a horror movie where he goes in the porta potty. That was all good stuff. I actually would have liked to see a little bit more of that stuff. And it reminded me a lot of Kevin Smith's earlier movies, specifically like Mallrats and Clerks. And that's good. It's a good thing. I like that about Kevin Smith. I know his last couple of movies. I did like Clerks 3, but last couple before that was not really as big a fan of. I like that a little mid-credit scene is sort of a nod to Clerks and to sort of his life and where it goes from there. And I like seeing the outtakes at the end. They did mention in the movie, the one character's like, "Oh, you got to stay to the end because this one movie did it." And so of course I'm like, if they don't have something at the end of this movie, I'm going to be very upset. But yeah, they did like the what is it? The Burt Reynolds movie where they, that's Smoking the Bandit, Cannonball Run, like the Cannonball Run thing, where they do all the outtakes and everything in the end, and it worked. As far as what I didn't like about the movie, there was too much of the Beaver movie. Like that stuff just really didn't work for me. I like Dietrich Bader. I got nothing against him, but like the entire joke was like, we're beavers, so we say damn a lot. And it was just very, and I know it was supposed to be a joke and it's supposed to be kind of a Flash Gordon type goofy kind of silly thing. But I don't know. I guess I would have preferred something a little less goofy, or even maybe I'm surprised they didn't do more like a Buckaroo Banzai or something, because I know Kevin Smith was involved with it. So more of a parody of that as opposed to like a Flash Gordon parody, I think is what they were doing. And you know, I don't know anything about Logic. I think he was an odd choice for that character just because he's kind of nerdy looking, not exactly what I expected him to look like. And some of the humor didn't work for me. You know, especially the beginning. I don't know what it was, the like opening scene where he kind of meets up with his friends and they're talking. I just wasn't really buying it at first. And once Sam Richardson shows up, I'm like, oh, I love Sam Richardson. He's great. Once they start wrestling, I was into it. But that first scene kind of didn't really work for me. And some of the humor just didn't really work for me. It was a little too broad, or a little too crass, or just didn't work, you know. And there's really not a lot for women to do in this movie either. You know, it occurred to me someone as I'm going through, okay, so we've got Rachel Dratch as his mom, and you know, we do have the usher who does have a scene where she like talks about movies and how she's into movies and wants to get into it. And I'm like, hey, cool. For a second I thought they were going to do a thing where like he hooks up with a hot usher or something. I'm like, that would be you know, not expected at all. But no, and so that was cool. I'm like, hey, well, so they did have a scene. This woman did have something to do, because the other girl, Melody, she's just kind of a romantic interest. There's a little bit more to her, but not a ton, you know. But then I realized at the end her character is just called Usher, or maybe Hot Usher. So I'm like, okay, well, you did have a character who did, you know, have sort of an arc, or not an arc, but at least in some sort of desires and motivations, and something other than just being, you know, a lampshade. But her name is Usher. You couldn't even give her a name. Like, all right, okay, and we could have called her Genesis. I mean, you know. So yeah. Other than that, oh yeah, the stuff with Harley Quinn. And it's not even, honestly, I don't really like Harley Quinn Smith. I don't think she's a very good actress. I actually thought her stuff in this worked better than I expected. It was actually fine. But there's something a little weird to me about, you know, it's his daughter. So being a father and then directing your daughter as like a sex worker. And it's not like she's being, you know, too sexually explicit or wearing anything too revealing, but still just a little odd to me. And then his wife was involved. And so I'm sure, you know, and she's an adult, so everything's fine. But, and then also there's something a little weird to me about casting his daughter's boyfriend as a younger version of himself, which, you know, I mean, they've been dating for a good 5 years now or something like that. But, and I understand he kind of is like Kevin Smith, kind of a short, chubby guy or whatever, but I don't know if Kevin Smith's that short, but either way, there's something a little weird about that to me, though. I don't know. But other than that, movie is directed by Kevin Smith. He did Clerks and Mallrats and Tusk and a bunch of other stuff. Also written by Kevin Smith, who writes pretty much everything he does. So Chasing Amy, Dogma, Red State, all that stuff. I'm not really sure what the budget is on this one. I feel like I heard Kevin say it somewhere, and it was like 4 million, 6 million, something like that. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what the box office is on this one either. I don't think it's actually fully come out. I think I must have kind of got lucky and had sort of an earlier screening here, but I'm not sure if it's come out a wide release throughout the country yet. Rotten Tomatoes in this one, the critics are at 74%, so not bad for Kevin Smith at least. And there's not enough audience scores yet. I think you need 50 audience scores, and there's not enough to actually have an audience score on this one yet. So we'll see. I assume it'll do well, at least better than the critics, because, you know, Kevin Smith's got his fans. He did film it at Smog Castle Cinemas, which is the movie theater he bought in New Jersey a while back. He promotes it and talks about it a lot, but he also says it's still got the same seats that, you know, it had when he went there as a kid. And I'm like, I don't want to sit in those tiny little uncomfortable seats. I like my big, comfortable, reclining leather seats with heated and all that stuff. That's what I want. I think he may have eventually upgraded the theater, though. And he did want the movie to be PG-13, but I got an R mostly because of some masturbation jokes. And there's also a sex scene. I don't know if that's or how that works, but, you know, which did kind of come out of nowhere. I feel like they could have maybe cut that stuff and wouldn't have needed it. But, you know, I did like, though, I read on Rotten Tomatoes, somebody in the review said this was the Fabelmans if Spielberg made bad movies. And I'm like, it's actually pretty funny. I mean, I think even Kevin Smith might agree with that. I don't know. But I did like the movie. I think I liked it more than I expected to. And I'm, you know, a fairly big Kevin Smith fan, or at least I used to be. I think my score on this one's going to be a 7 out of 10. Thought it was good, but not great. I think there's some moments that I did enjoy. I'm curious on a rewatch if I like it more or less. You know, we'll see. But if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.